So I'm Patricia Hooper at ASL Pewter. This is our annual Early American Life Directory of Traditional American Crafts event. This year we have 8 guest artists, everything from scrimshaw and wood carving to several different kinds of needlework, tin cookie cutters, and paper quilling. 2 of our artists are even local artists, Lisa Palmer with paper quilling and Candy Mahurin, who does painted game boards and band hat boxes. So it's nice to have everybody in. We've had great weather, we've had great crowds, and we're excited to be offering this event here in St. Genevieve again this year.
I'm Doug Dawson.
And I'm Julie Dawson, and we're from Galena, Ohio.
Thank you. Do you all paint them yourselves? Or?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. The birdhouses are certainly a fun sideline. We decided to make birdhouses with tin decorations. It's kind of a fun outgrowth from our work with tin. But these are all sized for wrens and finches, and the boxes are made of all reclaimed materials. But the colorful sunflowers and other decorations that we added are just for the people. The birds like the safety of the whole, but the decorations attract the people. Fun to get a handmade birdhouse that's easily cleaned out, vents and old-fashioned roofing for our feathered friends. Had a funny experience this spring when I was hanging out my own birdhouses. As I hung them in the tree and stepped back, I actually had bluebirds fighting over the birdhouses. Now these aren't sized for bluebirds, they're sized for wrens and finches. But once they discovered that neither one of them could get in, they flew away and I hung out my bluebird houses and they went to those. But it shows how attracted the birds are to a nesting spot. So it's just kind of a hang and play product. It's fun to make.
Thank you.
All right. We started making tin-back cookie cutters a little over 20 years ago now, and it's been our mainstay over the years. It's a product that has fallen out of fashion, come back into fashion for many folks who particularly like Americana. We believe that cookie cutters were a uniquely American creation, since if you look into history, before the colonies, there were no cookie cutters. The English had their cookie molds, but cookie cutters began to appear on the scene about the time that the U.S. was colonized. So we believe it was an American tinsmith who created cookie cutters. And we like to build them, make them the way they were done way back in the 1700s, 1800s. And Julie here does most of the tinning, the tin work.
I've done a whole series of pieces that are inspired by, I guess, the European tradition of having live candles on the tree. I don't recommend that you light them, but it's a fun little thing to have a small tree in your house with the miniature candle clips instead of the large ones that would be on a full-size tree, and the small antique stars. Now, of course, tin starts out shiny, and so most people use tin as a shiny product. But over time, maybe 80 to 100 years, it's going to darken naturally. And so this particular tree is reminiscent of something that you would find after many, many years of love in a home. And of course, then we have Christmas bling time. I think the Victorians were actually credited with doing the icicles. There are many tinsmiths out there who do icicles of varying kinds, but they certainly do add a lot to the Christmas tree. They're just all hand twisted and they're easily just hung on the tree, and you don't have to worry about your pets or them getting stuck to your clothes or anything like that. So it's fun to use tin. It's lightweight and it's easy to work with, and it's fun to use it for decorations around the house like they have for several hundred years here in America.
Well, I'm Kathy. I'm not Kathy DePaul. I'm Vernon DePaul. This is my wife, Kathy.
I usually have a lot of colors.
Go ahead.
Oh, I make all the little quotes. And to have.
If it's a fabric thing, I do that. I do some cross stitch and just lots of little quilt stuff. And
I do a wood carving. So, and I started wood carving back in 7th grade shop class, which, if you want to do the math, was about 1968. So I've been carving for over 50 years.
it's been a long time.
Whoa, that is a long time. And I do a lot of patriot carving, a lot of eagles, and when I do an eagle, I typically use inspiration of a historic eagle of the time period. I have eagles here that I used an inspiration off a image that was on top of a campaign poster announcing a debate between Lincoln and Douglas for Illinois Senate in 1858. I have eagles here that were used as by the U.S. Navy to put on warships during the War of 1812. And have other eagles that were also on ships of the time period. Because when the eagle became a symbol of the United States in 1792, then it was common for merchant person who owned merchant ships, as they were doing trade between the new United States and Europe, to have eagles put on their ship. Therefore, when that ship got to its destination, the people would know where that ship came from. Much like today on our truck commerce, you see names of businesses on the sides of the trucks. So it's the same type of thing, but it was done with eagles. So almost all my eagles represent pieces that were carved for wooden ships. And anything that has gold on it is actually 23 karat gold leaf, not gold paint. And I also do a lot of other little wood carvings that I just enjoy doing in my part-time. Go ahead. Kathy, you do all your quilts by hand, right?
No, these are not all by hand. A lot of these are done by machine. I do hand piecing, but hand piecing is very time consuming, so it's just cost prohibitive for most people to want to buy one of my little quilts. So I speed piece them at home, but it still gives the illusion of having a handmade
On Sundays, you have to
piece
stay
of
off the road because the roads are for the people.
art, I guess, in your home.
Can you imagine us saying it to me that I don't have to?
Lumberjack were little dancing things, or a percussion instrument they would use during the 1800s.
From Pontiac, Illinois, and I'm here with my silk ribbon embroidery. These are little wall pieces that are mostly done with flowers and some bees and sheep and things. And I do mostly early American designs, a lot of shaker work, proctor, and mostly attend historic festivals. I am also working on a little piece from the Bayou Tapestry today because it was easier to bring along. And this is original, it's a 1,000-year-old embroidery in France that tells a long story about Harold and William the Conqueror. So it's really fun to be here in St. Genevieve and to be here with friends and people who enjoy seeing fine craftsmanship. That's good.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Lisa Palmer. I am local here in St. Genevieve. I'm a paper filigree artist. Paper filigree is also known as paper quilling. It is an age-old art that can be traced back about 500 years to the French nuns. One of my favorite books has pictures from items that were created in the 17 and 1800s. Basically, I use, my preference is 1/8 of an inch strips of paper. I also have various tools that I use to help me twirl that paper. Very fine tweezers, fine needle glue. See, just a dab of glue is all that it takes. Currently, I'm working around with a piece here that actually has silver on the edge of the paper. I don't know if you can pitch that. See the shine?
It's not going to focus, unfortunately.
Okay. I don't know if it'll come off of one of these pieces.
Oh, it's not for a second. Yeah, I can see it.
This is a gilded paper where you've got the gold or silver
gilding of some kind on it. This was used quite often in the historic pieces. Back the French nuns would use paper that was gilded so that their artifacts that they decorated with this type of art would look very rich. So they decorate clay, wood, anything of that nature that they would put the gilded paper on to give it that beauty and that enhancement. They couldn't afford the actual gold and silver items of the time. See the tool here that I'm using has a slit in it right there. I'm going to slide that onto the paper, and it's going to grab the end of it so I can focus on just getting a good twirl. Push the paper off. This is a sizer that helps me keep my pieces all in even shapes. I'm picking up multiple here so that we'd all hold together. And I'm going to use my glue. Very small amount. This is not kindergarten. It takes a very little amount of glue. And go boop. And you got to make the noise or it just doesn't count. And there's my flower petal.
I'm ready. My name is Michael Carnegie. It's short for Michelle, and I'm from Eureka, Missouri. And this is my scrimshaw work. I do all the engraving, the etching by hand. I use just a hand scribe and cut every line, and then I put ink in. This is a sailor's art from the 1800s, and back then they did scrimshaw as a way to pass time. So I have boxes and bookmarks. My bookmarks are made from old piano keys. I salvage damaged instruments and make them into bookmarks, but even when an instrument is badly damaged, I can still salvage the keys. The other pieces that you see here are made with cow bone.
So that was 1529. I'm going to change that.
Is there anything else you'd like to know?
Been in business for 43 years, and Early American Life selects members for the artists for their directory every year. This is the 26th year I've been chosen for their directory. I'm very proud of that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.